Order. The House is resumed. In accordance with the leave of the House comes now to questions for oral answer. Question number 1 in the name of the Honourable David Parker.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My question is to the Minister of Finance. Why is the $30 million taxpayer-funded subsidy to Rio Tinto being managed by the Government Share Office program in the Treasury?
Honourable Bill English.
Mr. Speaker, the member is wrong on 3 counts. It was not a subsidy. It was not paid. It was not paid to Rio Tinto and is not managed by the Government Share Office program in the Treasury.
Supplementary.
Supplementary question, Honourable David Parker.
Why was the refusal to release the background documents justifying the $30 million subsidy to Rio Tinto, which had been addressed to the head of the Treasury, responded to by the Director of the Government Share Office program?
Honourable Bill English.
Speaker, if the member is interested in the details of how Treasury is organised around these things, there's a group called the Commercial Transactions Group, which has dealt with the failure of South Canterbury Finance, the buyout of AEMI, and has been is the group within which the share float program is managed. And that's why that it's actually the Commercial Transactions Group that is in charge of any of the significant commercial transactions that the government does, and the $30 million is paid to New Zealand aluminium smelters, not to Rio Tinto.
Supplementary.
Supplementary question, Honourable David
Point of
Parker.
order first, Mr.
Point
Speaker.
of order, Honourable.
I seek leave to table the Official Information Act request, which was addressed to the head of the Treasury. It was dated the 21st of August.
Leave us to table that particular letter. Is there any objection? Appears to be none.
I seek leave to table the reply from the Director Government Share Office program dated the 26th of August 2013, which declined the request.
Particular letter. Is there any objection? Appears to be none. It can be so tabled. Supplementary question.
How can
Honourable
he
David
deny
Parker.
that the dominant purpose of the $30 million subsidy was to facilitate the sale of Meridian, given that the refusal to release information came from the Government Share Office program section of the Treasury, despite the fact that the request for information wasn't sent to them?
Honourable Bill English.
Mr. Speaker, the member's drawing a long bow. The government has been quite transparent about the transaction. It's outlined the reasons why it entered into that transaction. One of the reasons is that it would create certainty for investors in Meridian. But I can assure the member the decision was made by ministers, and that the Treasury wiring, how the Treasury wiring diagram flows, didn't make any difference to the decision.
Supplementary.
Supplementary question, Honourable David Parker.
Did the $30 million smelter subsidy payment have any significant effect on the demand for electricity by the smelter?
Honourable Bill English.
Well, Mr. Speaker, I'm not exactly sure what the member means, but the finalising of the contract means that Meridian have an option to reduce the amount of electricity that they supply to the smelter over in a couple of years' time. Now, whether the smelter reduces its demand will depend on how much production it wants to continue with.
Supplementary.
Supplementary question, Honourable David Parker.
Does he understand that his $30 million interference in the electricity market is yet more proof that the New Zealand electricity market is uncompetitive, with higher charges for other businesses and residential consumers the consequence? That's
Honourable Bill English.
Mr. Speaker, no, but if we're going to talk about the smelter, the member needs to explain to other Labor MPs that the biggest beneficiary of Labor's policy on the electricity market would be the New Zealand aluminium smelter. By far the biggest beneficiary of any reduction in average electricity prices would be them, because they source their electricity from Manapuri Dam, which is probably one of the cheapest generators in the country.
Supplementary.
Supplementary order. Supplementary question, Honourable David Parker.
If the smelter subsidy would have occurred irrespective of the Meridian float, why is it that his government did not offer similar subsidies to Wholesome Cement or Norske Skog, both high energy users, to stop them laying off workers?
Honourable Bill English.
Mr. Speaker, I didn't say it would have occurred independent of the Meridian float, but that member needs to explain why his policy to reduce power prices will primarily benefit New Zealand aluminium smelter, and I've seen calculations that could be worth up to $150 million per year to the New Zealand aluminium smelter.
Supplementary.
Supplementary question, Honourable David Parker.
Is the real reason he is failing to disclose properly the facts behind the smelter subsidy from New Zealanders the same reason that he's refusing to properly discuss the effect on the electricity market and electricity prices? That is, that if New Zealanders knew the truth, they'd immediately see through the spin around the Meridian sale.
Honourable Bill English.
Minister, Mr. Speaker, there's no spin. The government has been absolutely clear about the payment, absolutely clear about the reasons for it. What that member needs to be able to explain is why his policy to cut electricity prices will hand the biggest single benefit to the smelter, and also explain whether it's Labor's policy that no payment should have been made and the 800 workers should have been sacked, because that's what that member said a number of months ago.
Point of order, Mr. Speaker.
Point of order, Chris Hipkins.
Mr. Speaker, in a rather unusual turn of events, the Minister of Finance in his answers asked David Parker a number of questions. I seek leave for David Parker to be able to answer them.
Order. The member. Order. The member should bone up on standing orders. He can't seek leave on behalf of
Point of
somebody
order,
else.
Mr. Speaker.
Point of order.
I seek leave of the House to answer those questions.
Order. Order. I think on this occasion there were some questions, so the honourable member can seek leave. I'll put the leave. Leave is so sought. Is there any objection? Yes, there is. Order. Order. Question number 2, Pesata Sam Lottewinga.
Thank you.